Oh, hi, I'm running to the studio. Something kind of crazy is happening. I'm gonna actually do a show. In the fall! These are the dates. So if you want to be there, be there. I didn't really get to finish my thought on that because I did in fact run to the studio. But basically me and my friend Adrian, who is also a content creator and also a really amazing oil painter, are doing a co-show all through November into the beginning of December. You can come see our artwork at any point in that time, but there will be a launch party if you want to come and see it in person, like see some of the stuff that I've been painting on YouTube and on my Instagram and on my TikTok and stuff. If you want to see any of those paintings IRL, also some newer paintings that I'm gonna finish in this video, those will also be on display, which is pretty freaking cool actually. This will be the first time that my artwork has ever been in a show. I'm really excited. If you'd like to check it out, I'll put some details on the screen again, and then I'll also put them in the description box if you want to come on by. But let's get to the painting, because I know that's why you really are tuning in to watch this video, you know what I mean? I think I mentioned it in my last YouTube video, but I was going on an artist retreat by Discover Artists, if you want to check them out on Instagram or anywhere. They're amazing. It was such an emboldening trip. It was also just beautiful being there, and it was nice to take a little break and head out to Greece and be an artsy-fartsy gal. And I took so many pictures of kitty cats. And so as like a way to kind of jump back into artwork, I was like, let me just do some quick little studies of these kitty cats I took pictures of. So because there were so many cute kittens, oh my god, and like I just took so many photos of them on my phone, and I was like, I should just make some of these bad boys and kind of just do something different other than houses, because I knew I was about to get right into houses the second these paintings were done, because I knew that I was going to be doing this art show in November and I wanted to make some new paintings for that, paint some new paintings for that. I wanted to just like cleanse my palette a little bit and do something loose and silly and fun, and so that's why I decided to paint these kitty cats. And they are very cute, and they remind me of the people that I went on the trip with, which is so fun. And so I am going to give these to the two people who were on the trip with me. My friend Adrian, previously mentioned, and also my new friend Celeste, who I met on the trip and had the best time with, and already really miss her. I miss your ass, Celeste. But anyways, I made these two kitties, two paintings of kitties for them. This one's for Celeste, and this one is for Adrian, so that's going to go to them. And then I moved on to a big old painting, because you know me, baby, size queen, gotta make them big. And I really do think that this is going to be one of my favorite paintings that I've done this year already. Sorry to like, you know, nope, I'm not gonna say it like that. I was gonna say blow my load a little early, but and then I went ahead and already said it. But what I meant to say is, I don't mean to gas it up without it even being done. Let me just show you the process, okay? So this is the underpainting. This is the part where you just kind of map everything out and make sure you like the way it all looks. And then I started building up the colors of the first layers of the trees. I wanted to get this kind of like smoky, foggy look to the whole painting. And by painting in these really thin layers in between, all the tree branches being quite faint and ghostly, I think I achieved that look really nicely, and it's something that I definitely want to explore in my work more. I think this has inspired me to do this even more, which is really fun to kind of like figure out what this looks like, you know, like what developing my style, my own personal style looks like. And I feel like I'm getting a chance to do that in paintings like this, where I get to do landscapes and architecture, but also work with plants and nature, because I've always been someone who's loved, you know, painting flowers and trees and plants, but I've always felt kind of like, I don't know how to say it, like, because it sounds negative for no reason, but kind of like pedestrian painting trees and painting plants. Like, I don't know, it's hard to make your mark when it's something that you see a lot in artwork. And so I don't know. That's not to say that I judge anyone else who's painting plants or trees or whatever, because when I see someone doing it uniquely, I can really recognize it. I don't recognize it in myself very often. So that's what I'm saying. I'm being self-effacing. I'm not saying this about anyone else. Anyways, doesn't matter. So I started painting these trees, and I really do think that I've gotten like a cool style going for these guys. If you notice in this painting, the left side of the painting is a lot warmer than the right side of the painting, and the left side of the painting, especially the upper left corner, is a lot fainter and warmer than the right side of the painting or the foreground of the painting, and that is supposed to give your eye a sense of things receding back into the fog and things coming forward out of the fog. So the cooler, darker, sharper tones are going to read like they're closer to you, and the hazier, warmer tones are going to look like they're receding back into the sunrise. And again, this is a great example of like, for one of the first times in my painting history, I feel like I had an idea for something and I wanted to execute it, and I actually had the visual language to be able to execute it, and I hope that it comes across that way to you guys. I also knew that I wanted this to kind of be like a canopy over the house, so it would kind of meet in the middle, and then I wanted the house to basically blur into nothing. But what I did know is that I wanted certain lines in the house to stand out, like that window on the left, or like the little steeple thingy, I forget what that's called, but that little thing at the top, I wanted that to really stand out, which is why this has already kind of like a first layer of something looking quite hazy. This is the first layer finished. I think I finished this in like 2 days, and then I came back the next day and was like, girl, let's add a little something, okay, a little spice, if you will. And so I decided to add this pinky peach haze to the left side and the back of the house of the painting. And I think this really hit it. I think this fucking hit, baby. I think that it really worked well with the greens and the blues and gave sort of a thin outline to a lot of these hazy colors so that they're still somewhat defined but retain their haziness. And then in the same way, I created a light gray blue wash, and I used that all over the foreground, on the house, on all the plants in the foreground. So again, all of this would kind of blur into almost what looks like a tintype photograph, if you know what those look like. Something kind of hazy and hard to discern. I wanted it to feel like the details were not in the house, but more so on that rightmost tree. I wanted you to be able to see that really well. And then it was done. Like, I knew when this was done. Sometimes it's hard not to know, like when it's too much, but I looked at this and I was like, yeah, she's done. She's so done. So if you want to come see this, you can come see it at the art show. It's going to be hopefully framed and looking gorgeous. But I just love this one. Love her. Think she's so gorgeous. And then, you know me, I was straight into the next painting. Again, I'm very proud of the way this painting turned out, so stick with me while we do this one as well. But while I'm painting this painting, I want to talk about something pretty special, pretty close to my heart, which is the fact that it's OCD Awareness Month this month. Yes. And I don't know if you know this, because maybe you've been following me for a while or maybe not, but I have trichotillomania, which is a disorder that's closely related to OCD. It's an impulse control disorder, and it's a hair pulling disorder. So I pick my lashes and I pick my eyebrows to the point of them being bald, baby, when I'm especially nervous or anxious, or just honestly if I'm overly tired. I used to think that trichotillomania was just like a bad habit that I had, and I didn't know that it was due to a condition related to OCD. And you know, there's other things that are connected to OCD that you might not expect, which is like disturbing unwanted thoughts that feel totally out of character, fears that are still stuck in your mind, actions that you feel like you have to complete to feel okay, or behaviors that feel soothing but you know aren't healthy, like hair pulling, skin picking. A lot of people experience these things and assume they're just like stressed or anxious, but that's because OCD is so misunderstood. Real OCD is nothing like the stereotypes about liking things organized. It's a serious and highly misunderstood condition that causes people to get stuck in a cycle of stressful, unwanted thoughts and repetitive behaviors. And these unwanted thoughts are called intrusive thoughts, which you might have heard about. They're often disturbing or taboo and feel totally out of character, and they can be about anything, but often focus on people or things we care about, making them really hard to ignore. OCD and related conditions can be really debilitating. They affect your self-confidence. I know for me, like as a teenager, when I would pick loads, I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to see anyone. And if anyone ever mentioned the fact that I had bald eyelashes, It threw my entire planet off orbit. It is so embarrassing. And because of misunderstandings, these conditions are often misdiagnosed or not recognized at all. But OCD is highly treatable with the right kind of specialized therapy, ERP or exposure and response prevention, not standard talk therapy, which can make OCD worse. There's also effective treatment for conditions related to OCD, like trichotillomania. And that's why I wanted to tell you about NOCD. NOCD is the world's leading provider of OCD treatment, and all of their licensed therapists specialize in evidence-based treatment for OCD and related conditions like trichotillomania. So whether you're dealing with OCD, a related condition, or multiple different conditions, they can help you understand your experiences and create a personalized treatment plan specifically for what you're going through. Therapy with NOCD is 100% virtual, covered by insurance for over 155 million Americans, and includes support between sessions so you can have help when you need it most. So if you're struggling with hair pulling, skin picking, or other possible signs of OCD, go to NOCD.com and book a free call to learn more about how they can help. That's NOCD.com. And thank you for letting me get up on my soapbox and preach at y'all for a little bit. Really appreciate that during OCD Awareness Month. But anyways, okay, painting. Yeah, this one's much more graphic, which you can probably already tell based on everything that I painted thus far. The last painting was very foggy and lovely, but what I kind of wanted to do is, in this painting, is kind of bridge the gap between these foggy paintings that I want to start doing and the more graphic paintings that I have done in the past. And so, as you can probably tell in this painting, I'm doing this like really kind of graphic foreground with the grass and also really graphic house while keeping the haziness of these kind of tree leaves in the background, like that's also receding into fog. And so what I'm trying to do here is sort of do what we call in the biz building a little bit of a collection that has any kind of cohesion, you know what I mean? So hopefully in the show it will feel like each of these has kind of like a thread that you can follow through all of the work. I don't know how successful that's going to be. Maybe you guys can tell me if you come and see it. But I think it'll be interesting as a challenge, at least, to kind of try to link all of these different things. Not just linking them by being like, they all have a house in them. But also like visually, like the art style and the direction that I'm going in, hopefully will have a cohesion that you can follow. I really loved the way these trees came out. There was a moment where I wanted them to be really simple, like that first layer of kind of light green that I put down. I thought about just leaving it with the light green, and then I was playing around a bit more and I realized I wanted there to be a bit more depth in the leaves, which is why I added some. Same thing with the bushes. I was like, maybe I leave these bushes just this really bright green, but then the blending just looked so much better. You'll see it in the wide. And then I started tackling this tree, and I was nervous about this tree because, again, I'm not trying to dog on Mother Nature because she's always making amazing things, but I swear to God, when I copy Mother Nature, stuff gets weird, you know what I mean? Like sometimes it just doesn't look right. But I really tried to look at the photograph that I was working from. It was a photograph, again, from the same photos that I took in Maine. They're all these kind of like misty, gorgeous photos. I really tried to look at the photos and discern like what color the tree was, what part of the tree was casting what shadow and what part of the tree was in the light. And same thing with the leaves. So you'll see in the wide again that there is a really dark kind of part of the leaves that drags down towards the house, and that part needs to look like it's more in the light than the upper portion of the tree, which is supposed to kind of recede back a little bit. And again, I feel like that was pretty successful. When you look at it far away, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Like it looks like those leaves that are towards the bottom are coming forward and the other ones are receding. I'm doing the same thing with the tree on the right, but this one's going to be even more misty. I had already done a few layers early on and then kind of rubbed those into a layer of light blue paint so that it would give it that really foggy look. And then here I'm adding even more colors on top to give more dimension, make the lower portion of the tree come forward a little bit and blend it in with the background. I also added some shadows onto our little trees in our foreground so that they have a bit more of a presence. And then of course, because I had to, I added a pink wash of color to all of the white portions of this house because I liked the idea of it popping a little bit. Okay, I can't help it. I love a pink wash. You probably can't even see it in this. When you see it in person, you can see it a little bit better, but it's got a pinky hue to it. And that's that painting. And I'm really proud of it. Again, I feel like it's a good painting. Yes. So I signed it and moved the hell on. Hello, good morning. I feel like I'm not usually doing vloggy bits for these videos because it's all just painting, but today's kind of an exciting day. I'm heading to the printers today because we're gonna go look at some mock-ups for the screen prints that Adrian and I are trying to commission for the art exhibition and to hopefully sell some prints finally online. I'm excited for you to meet Lucy, who is the screen printer, and kind of get to see her do her fabulous work. So let's go, because we're gonna share an Uber with Adrian and we're already gonna be late, which is classic, am I right? So we shot on over to Art Hub Studios, which is in Woolwich. I think that's how you pronounce it. Anyways, we went to go meet up with Lucy, who I met thankfully at a wedding, and found out that she was such an incredible screen printer and comes from a lineage of amazing painters. This is her mother, and this is her mother's gorgeous artwork. Like, what? Imagine being born into that family. Oh my God. And they all work at an artist collective together. All of their screen printing equipment is stuff that is cast off from various art schools and things. So they got them, and they have tons of resources to be able to make whatever kind of artwork you want and do it amongst other really cool artists. And they keep their rent really cheap as well, which is awesome. So, you know, you get the best of all worlds. And this was the process of us making everything. We decided to go ahead and try to test one of the layers of one of the prints that I want to do. And the process was so cool. Like, it's such a scientific process. I didn't realize how much science went into screen printing. Oh my gosh. Like, it's on a whole other level, and I really appreciate that. Like, it's just every step of the way is something that has to be really well thought out and done with excruciating detail. So it takes so much patience, and I would say that it's quite a meditative process once you get to the point of actually physically doing the screen printing like I'm showing here. But man, it's cool. And you really get to be like a human printer. I said that while we were in person, and I was like, yeah, that's kind of the whole point. That's why it's called printing. That's why it's called screen printing. I also gave it a go, and I probably screwed up mine, but whatever. But we decided to test this hill in this light blue, and it was, oh my God, so satisfying. I could see why you would want to just do this like so many times. But yeah, I'm just really excited because we're going to be working with someone who's so talented and has such a clear vision for herself, and is able to transform our art in a way that looks beautiful printed. Adrian also got a chance to do one himself, which is so cute. And I didn't mean to, but I guess I am really ending this how I started it, from my bed editing this video. But yeah, those prints that I'm working on with Lucy and Adrian are going to be available hopefully during the exhibition. So those are going to be an option if people come by the opening party and want to get something, but they don't want to pay a larger sum of money for a painting. Those are an option. They're also going to be numbered. They're going to be their own special piece of artwork tied in with the collection of paintings. And they're printed so well. Like, Lucy's going to do such a good job. So I hope you guys get excited for that. This is going to be the first time that I'm really selling my artwork. So wish me luck. Oh my God, if nothing sells, that's going to be crazy, but also predictable? Who knows? Again, as for the opening party, that is going to be ticketed. And I will keep you guys up to date on socials for when those tickets go live. They are going to be free again, but I think we're going to do like an Eventbrite or something like that, just so we can control the flow of people coming in and out for the opening night. So yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope you guys are having a wonderful leap into fall, and I'll see you guys for the next one, and hopefully see you at the opening party. Okay, bye.